right, what's up, everybody? This is Michael from Detailing in Shadow, and we are back. The last video I made was going through the progression of the early years all the way up through World War II. Now, we are here about 5 years later to 1950 through 1953, the Korean War. We're going to examine the Air Force in Korea. As war progressed, we will quickly find out that the C designation means more and more. We have this Douglas C-124 Globemaster, and like I mentioned before, the C is designated cargo. Let's go and climb on in here. Jump seats. One of the most precious cargo are the human beings, the troops that were transported in these ever large aircrafts. And in post World War II, we're going to see a huge explosion of helicopter and helicopter technologies. Right here is a brand that you're going to get very familiar with, Sikorsky, the UH-19B Chickasaw. And as time progressed, we stopped measuring engines in horsepower and started measuring them in pounds of thrust. Here we have the B-45C Tornado from North American. You can see those turbojet engines. Everything's starting to get larger and larger. And faster for sure. Even though jet engines have become more prevalent at this time, there was still a big need for the prop. Now this is a North American T-6D Mosquito. The advantages of a prop job is that it needs less runway than a jet, and it can take off and move in more adverse conditions than a jet at the time.
This giant screen Air Force Museum Digital Theater. Admission, schedule, and title information.
Now we're going to go through the fuselage of the Command Decision, a B-29 fuselage. You'll see things were incredibly compact. Analog instrumentation. Now we're not going to take the crew tunnel. We're going to go down where the munitions are. Here we have the F-94A Starfire, from a very familiar name, one that will be mentioned lots of times from here on out. Lockheed. Not quite yet Lockheed Martin, just Lockheed. And here we have a Republic F-84E Thunderjet. It was riding on an Allison J35, pushing 4,900 pounds of thrust. Definitely the jet age. Just as in modern times, the prop can go certain places that the jet just can't. Here we have the Douglas B-26C. Two props on each side. Dream Girl. Here we have an example of a gun sight that allowed one gunner on the A-26 Invader to operate all of the machine guns on the plane. And at the time, the Russians, just like always, were in the battle for air supremacy. We have the VK-1, 6,000 pounds of thrust. And like most things Russian, they're always a little more odder looking than the things in the West. But we were at the time where we up to 6,000 pounds of thrust. The Mikulian Gurevich MiG-15 BIS, using that engine, 6,000 pounds of thrust. And that cutout gives a definite example of actually how small this aircraft is. There's its engine and body in total. Now we're back in the West with the North American F-86A Sabre. The F designates fighter. North American F-82G twin Mustang. And upon examining it, you will know exactly why it's called the twin Mustang. We have a cockpit on that side and a cockpit on that side. And the props were still utilized. Now, reconnaissance has always been the name of the game, but you can see here, right above those 50 cal machine guns, we have about 4 canisters with miles and miles of film. This is the Lockheed F-80C. A fighter, but also used as a reconnaissance airplane. Now, the Korean War was a short conflict in aspect to the last 2 previous wars that went on for decades at a time. Well, not multiple decades, but World War II and World War III, they weren't short conflicts. They actually lasted quite a bit of time.